Hello learners and welcome back to your own channel LIY English, Learn It Yourself. So in this video we'll be learning a poem from class 11th English which is 2.5 titled as Nose versus Eyes, written by William Cowper. I'm sure learners you'll all enjoy the poem as it is very interesting. We'll learn the poem in detail, reading and understanding line by line. I will explain the poem in this video in English and I'll upload another video with Hindi explanation of the poem too on my channel. So you can watch whichever you prefer or you can watch both. Now without further ado, let's start our video. As usual, first we'll learn about the poet, William Cowper. He was one of the most famous English poet and hymn writer. He changed the direction of 18th century nature poetry by writing about everyday life and nature. Samuel Taylor Coleridge called him the best modern poet. Though he studied law, but he was not interested in the legal profession, so later on he started writing. Let's learn his poem, Nose versus Eyes, but before that, let us look at the central idea of the poem. The poem is a satire on the judiciary system. Now, what is a satire? A satire is a way of criticizing people or ideas or systems in a humorous or in a funny way. So, when you point out to the shortcomings or negative points and defects of anything but in a funny way, it is called a satire. The poem mocks at the stone-blind justice in a humorous manner. It points out to the defects of judicial system, that how the system lacks empathy and common sense and fails to deliver the justice in its true spirit. The poem consists of 8 stanzas of 4 lines each and the rhyme scheme is AB, AB. Now let's read the poem line by line and try to understand them in detail. Between nose and eyes a strange contest arose. The spectacles set them unhappily wrong. The point in dispute was, as all the world knows, to which the said spectacles ought to belong. The poet says that once a strange, quite unusual contest arose between nose and eyes. Contest here means dispute. So there started a dispute between the nose and the eyes, and the point of dispute was the spectacles. To whom do the spectacles belong was the question. Now we all know that we wear spectacles to see clearly. They are used to improve the eyesight, so they are meant clearly for the eyes as we know it. That is why poet calls it a strange dispute. Here both nose and eyes are claiming their ownership of spectacles. Now let's move on to the second stanza. So Tongue was the lawyer and argued the cause with great deal of skill and a wig full of learning, while Chief Baron Ear sat to balance the laws, so famed for his talent in nicely discerning. So to solve the dispute, Tongue was assigned the role of a lawyer to argue the cause, as it has the great deal of skill in arguing and also a wig full of learning. Whereas Ear was made the Chief Baron. Chief Baron meaning judge, as ears are famous for its fine sense of judgment, so it was made the judge of this case. So poet says how that we use our tongue to talk and to argue. Because of this, tongue is famous for its skill in communication. So that is why tongue was made the lawyer, whereas ears are famous for its nice discerning, for its fine sense of judgment. We obviously trust whatever we hear with our ears. There is no doubt about it. Whatever we hear with our ears, we trust them. So that is why ear was made the judge of this case. It was assigned the duty to listen to the arguments of both the side and give out the judgment and solve this case. In behalf of the nose it will quickly appear, and your lordship, he said, will undoubtedly find that the nose has had spectacles always in wear, which amounts to possession time out of mind. So the hearing started and lawyer Tongue began with its argument in favor of nose. He gave the reason that as we always know that it is the nose which wears spectacles, and wearing or using anything amounts to possession. Obviously, we can use or wear anything that belongs to us. So this way it is clear that the spectacles belong to the nose. There is no doubt about it. Then holding the spectacles up to the coat, your lordship observes they are made with a straddle, as wide as the ridge of the nose is, in short, designed to sit close to it, just like a saddle. Then the lawyer holds the spectacles up to the coat, making sure that everybody can see what he's trying to demonstrate, what he's trying to show. The lawyer points out that we all can see and we all can observe how the spectacles are made with straddle, and it is exactly as wide as the ridge of the nose. So basically it is designed in such a way as to sit close to it, just like a saddle. So it is clear that the nose owns the spectacles. Again, would your lordship a moment suppose, it's a case that has happened and maybe again, that the visage or countenance had not a nose, pray who would or who could wear spectacles then? Then again, the lawyer presented another argument which was very strong. It said that suppose if a face did not have the nose, how could one wear spectacles then? As it is clear that when we wear the spectacles, it basically reside on the ridge of the nose. So if the face did not have the nose, the spectacles will not be worn. So it proves that the spectacles belong to the nose. On the whole, it appears, and my argument shows, with a reasoning the court will never condemn, that the spectacles plainly were made for the nose, and the nose was as plainly intended for them. And with this, finally, the lawyer tongue concluded its argument, saying that with all these reasoning that I gave, with all the proofs that I've shown, the court will surely agree that spectacles and nose were meant for each other. Then, shifting his side as a lawyer knows how, he pleaded again in behalf of the eyes. But what were his arguments, few people know, for the court did not think they were equally wise. Then poet says that as lawyers do, the tongue, who was a lawyer here by far, was arguing in favor of the nose, now shifted its side and started arguing the case in favor of nose. But whatever were the arguments put forth by it, were not convincing and equally wise, so nobody paid attention to it. So his lordship decreed with a grave solemn tone, decisive and clear without one if or but that. Whenever the nose put his spectacles on, by daylight or candlelight, eyes should be shut. And at the end, with a very serious and formal tone, the chief baron here announced its judgment very strongly and clearly that the spectacles clearly belong to the nose. Moreover, it stated that whenever the nose put the spectacles, whether it is a daytime or whether it is a night, the eyes should remain shut. So this was the end of this unusual, strange contest and case. And here we can see that how the judgment was so nonsensical, that it was in favor of nose, however it has nothing to do with the spectacles. Whereas the eyes, for which the spectacles are actually meant, are actually made, are asked to remain shut whenever the spectacles are worn by nose. So we see how clearly, how cleverly and how easily the poet points out the flaws of the judicial system. Now let us quickly summarize whatever we have learnt in the poem. We have seen how this poem was so funny, it made us laugh. It is a humorous take on the defective judicial system. It is a satire on the judicial system. It points out some of the serious flaws of judiciary, that how it fails to render true justice. It also gives the deep message to all of us to use our senses wisely in giving judgments and taking decisions, how we should be very careful in judging anything, because a wrong judgment can bring out so much of injustice. So that's it for this video, and I'm sure you have enjoyed it, enjoyed learning with me and understood everything that we have learned in this poem. And if you like this video, give this video a thumbs up, share among your friends and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.